call. It's 1 minute to two. Yeah. And I sent an email to approximately 3,000 email addresses this afternoon. Yeah. And I thought it was important to explain exactly what the email did say because there seemed to be some confusion about it. See, the use of have or has does confuse a lot of people. And for those in law enforcement that have a difficult time understanding the words that I'm using in the email, I try to make the sentences short. Yes. And I use semicolons quite often and commas. Yeah. Now, a lot of the other punctuation that people use, I don't use because it seems that you get confused very easily. Did you not understand the email? There was approximately 300 email addresses. Yeah. hmm And I continue to email the suicide girls because I think they need to know as many clients as they have at their website, and quite possibly we could run through the IP addresses of the suicidegirls.com. Yeah. I know that I really haven't contributed to the profitability of their website or their individual profiles, but they are women, and I thought they should know about what you're doing. So get me every IP address and every individual that has gone to a suicidegirls.com web page. Yeah. Because the thought was, you know what? Don't they need to know? They might be models. Yes. They might take photographs of themselves or have a photographer do it. Yes. But don't they have just as much right to know that my rights are being violated? It's this issue of, well, who gets to know? Does only the employees of the state of Washington? See, I intentionally did include them in the emails because I thought that as models, it would be important for them to know, yes, when my rights are being violated. Yeah. Now, it says my rights are being violated. And I sent this today at 11:55. Yeah. And for some reason, I didn't get any responses. Is there a reason why no one, yes, that happens to be an oath of office, a sheriff, a police officer, an FBI agent, a Homeland Security employee, is there some reason right now my rights are being violated? Exclamation mark. Is there something that you don't understand about rights? Now, I did include a copy of RI.PDF. Yes. This was the protection order that was served on me in the Squim Public Library. You can see here that the respondent did not have reasonable notice and an opportunity to be heard. Yes. Notice of the hearing was not served on the respondent. Yes. By personal service, service by mail, or service by publication. Yeah. Respondent did not receive actual notice of the hearing. The order was not issued in accordance with the full faith and credit provisions of the VAWA. Now, when you don't give notice and opportunity to be heard to the respondent, yeah, and the individual that serves the respondent is not a sheriff, yes, you did not protect my right to due process. Now, it's a no-brainer, okay? I mean, this is really easy for you to understand. My rights are being violated. Now, the person that served me was not a sheriff, and if they were in your posse, they did not have a uniform on, they didn't have a badge on, and they did not identify themselves as being in the Clallam County Sheriff's Department. My rights are being violated. Now, there is some obligation of the guarantees of the Constitution. Now it says the obligation, yeah, of the guarantees of the Constitution have to be enforced. As in, that's a present tense. You need to enforce those constitutional guarantees. Not has to be enforced, as if it were past tense, have to be enforced. Now, I haven't had those guaranteed rights enforced yet, and I'm concerned because you're continuing to enforce this fraud. Yes. Well, you said it was okay that I was served because I had knowledge of the court order. But the individual was an imposter. They were not the actual sheriff. Yes. And then there's the forgeries. Oh. The petitioner didn't appear in court. Yes. My sons are in the wrong grades. Now, you cannot deprive Americans of due process. You cannot deprive American citizens of life, liberty, or property without notice and an opportunity to be heard. Yes. You do have to give notice of the hearing to the respondent at least 5 judicial days before there's a permanent court hearing. That means you have to remove this. The court issued orders that did not have any due process. You issued this court order, yes, certified copy, on July 31st of 2015, and there was no due process. Now, there was no due process to the 5 minors named. Yes. There was no due process to the petitioner. Yes. There was forgery. Yes, there was. There was fraud. Oh. And the truth is, yes, you cannot say that the individual that served me had the legal right to serve me. Now, I'd like you to remove it. And then I'd like you to have my sons call me. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to get a phone call because I don't have a telephone. Right. They'd actually have to talk to me in real life. Yeah. And they'd have to do that because you're going to be obligated to enforce the actual rights of American citizens. Now, let's say that you don't believe what it says. The law enforcement officer, yes, serving this order may confiscate the restrained person's weapons at the time of service. Yes. Now, obviously, this is something that you served somebody after you had given them notice of court hearings. Remove it. There's forgery on court orders. There's fraud. Yes. There's treason, making war. It is an attack on the United States Constitution. Yes. And that is effectively an attack on the United States of America. Now, you're making war against the United States, thinking that you're just violating my rights. But you're actually violating the rights of the American citizens. See, when you violate my rights, it's violating their rights. These rights that we call due process, yes, they happen to belong to every citizen of the United States. They're not just my rights. Yes, they're the rights of the whole nation.